Hi everybody, Sydney Rock back with another shaving rant. Hey, the real topics are starting tonight. Tonight's topic, before I get into that, tonight's lather will be some maple cream that I bought at it's a local shop. No point really getting used to it. I'll be taking it plain because there aren't that many smells that mix well with maple in my view. Tonight's topic, I was kind of hesitant at the idea of going into this at all because I didn't really want this blog to be political, but I figured it's going to permeate a lot of my rants anyway, so I might as well just get it out of the way. And I'm going to try my best to not use any labels. I really hope I succeed with that one. But basically I wanted to get into why I have the positions that I do, and when I care enough to actually go through the motions, I think I can defend them pretty easily. However, I found that having political conversations, especially in written form on the internet, it tends to look like a bunch of pigeons playing chess with each other. For those of you who aren't familiar with the saying, it says never play chess with a pigeon. It's just gonna knock over all the pieces, shit on the board, and strut around like it's won. So I find that most political discussions on the internet kind of look like that, which is why, unless I have some vested emotion in the conversation, I don't tend to engage them in written format. But this is a pretty good format to get my position out there in a way that's, you know, you can see my mannerisms and shit, even though I am shaving, but for the most part it goes through. So I'd like to get directly into the why, like why I hold the positions that I do. Really, it can boil down to three principles: self-ownership, respect for property rights, and the non-aggression principle. Now, for some of you, and I hope there are some of you out there, you'll realize how related those three things are, and I kind of hope that some of you say that I kind of just said the same thing three times in different ways. There we go. So, basically, it all starts with the notion that you own yourself. So far, I don't think I'm very controversial. In the conversations that I do get involved with, usually face-to-face, often with someone I know, that point, really, I don't get much discussion on that. If you don't agree with the fact that you own yourself, probably not going to enjoy these videos. Now, the thing with self-ownership is that basically if you own yourself, you own all the results of your actions, good or bad. So with that comes the fact that if I steal someone's bike, I own the gesture of stealing the bike. I don't own the bike because, you know what, let's just get into it now. The non-aggression principle states that it's always wrong to initiate force, and that there's no set of circumstances that will make it right. Right there, I'm pretty sure that there is some resistance to that notion if you think of the full consequences of what I just said, but I apply that really consistently. You know what? This is a good gesture. This is a good video to show you this. I've done this a couple times. Right here. This is what I call the reverse Hitler. Without the video here, I've a couple times given some impassioned speeches while wearing this. I'll just get rid of it now. Get into pass two. So basically, the bottom line when you apply the consequences of self-ownership, respect for property rights, and the non-aggression principle consistently, there are some conclusions that flow from that that not many people sadly are willing to accept. And I get it. I mean, I'll probably do a bunch of other videos going into the why of that, but the main consensus seems to be that if, like, everyone agrees that it's wrong to steal unless you take just a little bit from everyone and use it for XYZ. So yeah, that's where the fact that I use that consistently can get into some conversations where people ask a bunch of questions like for me, it doesn't really matter what you do with the money. It doesn't matter how many people agree with the forceful taking of property. It's always wrong, and that moral argument basically trumps any other consideration that you can have. Let's just say that for me to support the use of force against someone under any circumstances, you would basically have to prove that it was self-defense. Which basically comes down to proving that the person who was being aggressed upon, or whom the force was being used upon, had basically that person was initiating force and that they started it. And again, this is the kind of thing we learn in kindergarten. Like, don't steal, don't hit people, don't take their stuff. But somehow, during the formative years, that notion gets flipped in certain areas, and somehow, like, we can live our personal lives without stealing, but once it's to deal with certain situations, then it's okay, it's even good. And that's not a position that I hold. So basically, I just wanted to put that out there, that like, almost no matter what the thing that I'm considering is, the two first questions that I'm going to ask is it peaceful, is it voluntary? And if there's any ambiguity and clarification needed, the question, whose is it, is a really key question to ask, because whoever owns whatever it is that we're talking about, that determines whether aggression was used, or whether it's self-defense, or whether it's just a person exercising their property rights. Yeah, by the way, since it's on my mind, if you've never shaved with tallow-based soap, you really don't know what you're missing. It's the bomb. I've often said that my face feels so smooth, it's almost as if it's going to slip off the rest of my skull. So yeah, coming back to what I was talking about, what was I saying? Tallow-based soap is that good. So yeah, basically, don't steal, don't hit people, don't take their stuff, and it doesn't matter how many people agree with you or what title you have, that's always true. No considerations will ever trump the moral argument. And if something is peaceful and voluntary, there we go. I got a lot of hate on for Apple. Every now and then I'll bitch, especially iTunes. I can't stand that software on a PC. But the bottom line is, it's peaceful and it's voluntary. So even things that I do disagree with, if it's peaceful and voluntary, I'm not going to have that big of a problem with it. Because ultimately, there are alternatives to the iPhone. I'm a proud Android user. Some would say fanboy, and that's fine. But the bottom line is, no matter what I think of Apple products, I'm not forced to buy them. I'm definitely not forced to pay for them whether I use them or not. And I don't have to chip in for someone else getting Apple products unless I actually want to, unless my volition is involved, and then it becomes peaceful and voluntary. Well, actually it is peaceful and voluntary the whole time, that's my point. So that's it for tonight. Aftershave is done. This is going to be an awesome shave tomorrow. So thank you very much. Please like, share, comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye.